Hi guys, it's Steffi from the Novelty Corner, and I'm going to apologise profusely for the very poor lighting in my bedroom, even though I am actually filming in my bedroom for my books beside my bed video this week, because I'm filming this a day earlier than I normally would and at night time. Well, not quite night time, it's nearly night time, so I've only got light coming in from one side of the room and it's really difficult to light in here after a certain point during the day. So I do apologise about that. It's also really hot and I've been in and out of my place all day, first fixing up my classroom, which is finally organised for Monday, and then I've had to go and do some back to school clothes shopping, and so I'm really exhausted, but I really want to share what I read this week. Stay tuned to the end of the video where I'm going to share another shout out to a fellow booktuber as part of the Strike Back Videoathon. I will leave a link to everything down below so that you can check out both the announcement video for the Strike Back Videoathon if you're not sure what it is, as well as the link to the booktuber. So, first things first. Last week I got to go and see Love, Simon, which is the film adaptation of Simon versus the Homo sapiens agenda, and it was amazing. Penguin Teen Australia had their YA showcase night, and as part of that night they did screen the movie, and I laughed, I cried. In fact, I was practically bawling my eyes out at one point. So it was a pretty damn good film, and it comes out in March. Highly recommend you go and check it out when it is released. I am planning on seeing it again at least once. I've already told one of my friends that we are going to see it because I think she will love it, and I just need to go and see it again. The performances were amazing, loved the whole cast. It was just a really fantastic teen movie, and I'm not a big fan of teen movies, so that's saying something. The second big thing that's happening, and the reason why I'm filming this early, is that on Sunday I'm going to the YA Rooms YA Day in the city, and I'm really looking forward to it. It is their first big event. It's a whole day celebrating young adult literature, and I can't wait. Okay, now onto the books. This is my reading wrap up for the week of January the 21st to the 27th. I read 3 books, a total of 973 pages, and I have read 21 books for the year. 2 of these books I did receive for review, so I might do them second, and I'll start with the book that I finished this week, which was Hovercar Racer. I've been listening to this on audio when I've been going for my walks in the morning, and it's taken me a couple of weeks to get through this. Mostly because 1, it's quite a big book. 2, I stopped listening to it while I was walking because I just needed to listen to music or just not listen to anything at all. Or I was out walking with a friend, so I was too busy talking to actually listen to the book. It was originally published in 2004 by Pan Macmillan. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It is a Matthew Riley book. I really enjoyed it. I'd forgotten a little bit about it, but as I was listening to it, I actually began to remember quite a few things that happened in this story. It is, a middle grade book. It is about Jason Chaser, who is a 14-year-old boy at the very start of this book. He turns 15 during the events of the book, and he dreams of becoming a hovercar racer. In Matthew Riley's world, the technology for hovercars has been invented, and it's basically open source, so everyone is all on top of it. They use it for everything from race cars to regular cars to ships, I think. Jason is trying to get into the International Race School, which is held in Tasmania in Australia, and he gets in, and then it is how he fits into this school. He is the youngest person in the school except for his brother, who is his navigator. And, you know, not everyone appreciates the fact that he's there and that he is quite novel in his approach to hovercar racing, and so gets different results to the older, more experienced racers in the school. Lots of twists and turns, lots of backstabbing. I will warn you, there's probably some gender issues and whatnot in the book, mostly because the action takes place so quickly that nothing is really fully developed. I also think part of it is a commentary. There is one female driver who's been admitted to the race school, and she's the first female driver to be admitted to the race school, and so there's a whole lot of issues going on around that. So it's half commentary, half that really sucks, but for the most part I enjoyed the book and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Then I read Love, Hate and Other Filters by Samira Ahmed. This was sent to me by Allen and Unwin for review, so thank you very much to them. It is a 2018 release, published by Allen and Unwin here in Australia via Hotkey, and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It is the story of Maya, who lives in the US, and her family is Indian, and she was born and raised in America and dreams of being a filmmaker. And this is a story about her falling in love, dealing with her family culture and the differences that she has with it as a Indian American girl growing up in today's society. And it also deals with hate crimes and racism. There's a lot going on in this book. It's beautifully written, very easy to read. Lots of really fun things happen in the book, and in fact, a lot of the racism component take place in the second half of the book. There's a lot of setup, a lot of build up as she tries to navigate her parents' wishes with what she would like to do. They would prefer her to go to university in Chicago. She would prefer to go to university in New York because that's where she wants to go and study filmmaking. There's a lot of tension between them, and I've seen one criticism of the book, it being that someone didn't quite like Maya because she is constantly being quite rude to her parents. And I get that because she's quite dismissive of their beliefs at times. But at the same time, I think that's not necessarily inaccurate. I think she is a character who is really bucking against her culture because it's stifling her. And while it's not an excuse to be a pain towards your parents when there's some really horrific things going on around you, because there are, I don't necessarily think it's a negative. I think it's just an interesting aside, but beware of that going into it. There was almost a love triangle, but thankfully that was averted, and it was averted in a really nice way, and I quite liked it. Not 100% sold on the relationship that Maya finds herself in, but I did enjoy the journey of the book itself, and there are some really lovely passages within the book. I also received a copy of The End Sister by Penny Russin for review. This is a 2018 release as well. It is published by Allen & Unwin here in Australia, and I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars. And I don't know whether it was because I was reading this book while I was very, very exhausted, but I struggled a little bit with this book. Not because it's not beautifully written or it doesn't have a lovely story, it does, but I think I just struggled because I was really tired when I was trying to read it. So I'll tell you my thoughts, and this is probably one I'm going to have to revisit at some point. It is the story of the Athwaite family who live in Australia in a little cottage in the country, and one day they discover that they've inherited an old mansion in England that belonged to the father's family. So they decide to pick up roots and move to England to live in this house, and once they get there they discover that things are just a little bit strange and that maybe there are ghosts haunting this house, and it begins to affect the way that the family interact with one another, the way that they feel. A lot of them begin to feel quite oppressed and struggle with the move and struggle to be heard and understood by the rest of the family, because there are 5 kids and the 2 parents. The mother is in the middle of writing her thesis and is uprooted in the middle of that, so she's very stressed out. The father is sort of reconnecting with his family in England. The youngest child really struggles with the move. She is deeply affected by the ghosts in the house, and the oldest daughter is trying to find her place in a world that she doesn't really understand anymore. The 3 boys in the middle do okay, but they all have their own issues, and it's just this story of, you know, how do you come together as a family, and there's this lovely paranormal story running through it. It was very cute, very easy to read. I do need to read it again, but it's well worth picking up if you like kids books. So this is more middle grade than YA, but it is quite lovely. So those are the books that I read. Not a bad effort considering how tired I've been and how little time I've actually put into reading. So I'm hoping to read at least 1 book next week, but given that I'm going back to work and the kids start on Wednesday, I've got 2 days of professional development before then. I don't know how tired I'm going to be because I haven't had my own classroom for a year. So I could be really exhausted. It could be a Netflix week for me, but I will hopefully get at least 1 book read so that I can share some thoughts with you on Monday. Now, before I go, I want to shout out a fellow booktuber, and that is Jean from Happy Indulgence. She is a fellow Australian booktuber. She has a wonderful personality. She's very bubbly, very friendly. She's got awesome videos on her channel. She is a wonderful member of the booktube community, as well as being quite active on Twitter. She also has a blog, and I just love following her and watching her videos. So definitely check her out with the links below. In the comments, please let me know something that you've been reading this week and what your thoughts are on it. Would you recommend it? I hope that wherever you are in the world, you're having a wonderful day, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye guys.